All right, so we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to delete the old preferences out. We're going to drop the new preferences in. And then we're going to boot up Maya. So if you've already done that, you can boot up Maya. Now remember, this is probably going to be the last time I tell you to do this. This is just something that you should do every single time you come into class. Delete the old preferences, copy your preferences in there, and then that should be it. Then you can boot Maya. So I go into the Maya 2014 or the Maya folder and delete it. I go into my folder and I copy them, Control C, I paste them, Control V, and then I open up Maya. Okay. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go up to File and go to Set Project. And yours is probably going to jump you into your folder. Mine's not, so I'm just going to go find mine on the D drive, okay? Under File. So we want to set our project to the desk folder, okay? So all we have to do is click on the desk folder and then hit Set Project, okay? Now, if for some reason you didn't have the desk folder, maybe you weren't here that day, you didn't go through that video, you don't have it, I'm going to show you again how we make a new project. So I'm going to go to File, Project Window. I can't type anything up here, okay, because this is just whatever project I'm in right now. I have to hit New, and then I can give this a new one. So if I have Desk Sarcona 2. I make sure that it goes into my W14. Make sure it goes into 2510, make sure it goes into work, and then I can hit accept. Okay, so that's creating a project. All that's doing is telling Maya, this is what I want to work on. Today we're working on our desk. Tomorrow we're working on our desk. The next day we're working on our desk, okay? We don't switch our project until we get to the next project, until we get done with the desk and we start working on the automotive interior, okay? So every time you come in, you copy your project folder over, or you copy your preferences over, and then you set your project and you make sure you click on whichever project you're working on. So in this case, I'm working on desk, and then we hit set. If I come in tomorrow and I'm like, okay, well, I'm done working on desk, I need to work on Pac-Man, I can go to set project and click on Pac-Man. Okay? We never double click a file outside of Maya to open it up. We always go through and set our project. And I'm going to just set it back to the project it was at, desk. And then we could go through and open it and then start opening it, but there's nothing to open right now because we just don't have anything yet. Okay? So I want you to watch me create the desk. I'm going to model the entire desk in like 5 minutes. Okay? It'll probably take you an entire class period to model the desk. So I'm starting off with a polygon cube. And we start off as, in this way, we're doing it in a very, very basic shape. And we're kind of keeping everything in one area, okay? So I have this cube. I'm going to pull pieces out of it, okay? Essentially, I'm going to isolate areas and then pull them up. So I'm going to insert a division. So one of the things we do in polygons is we insert loops. So I click on this loop. Then I can go to the face of this, and then I can extrude it, and then I can pull it up. And then I can pull it up, and then I can pull it up, and then I can pull it up, okay? And then I can say, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm going to go and insert some more loops. Like that. Now, this, you're actually modeling yours a little bit different. I'm just doing it the quick and cheap way. I'll extrude these. Oops. And give them a little bit of scale. Grab these and push it in. There we go. So that was record time, okay? So that process that I just did might take you the entire class period. Let it take the entire class period, okay? I don't want you to rush on these initially, okay? If it takes you an entire class period to do this, an entire class period to do the chair, that's fine. Eventually you'll get quicker. And if it means coming into lab and working for an extra hour or extra 3 hours or whatever it is, then you just put in the time, okay? Eventually you'll get to the point where it just makes sense and is just becomes something that you know how to do. Most of you know how to use Illustrator. You know how to use Photoshop. You know how to use InDesign. It doesn't happen by reading about Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop. It doesn't happen by me talking about it. It happens by you doing it, okay? That's the only way you can get to that point of being comfortable with the software, is just getting in there and doing it, okay? Now, just for fun, here's the chair. And you'll see there's a lot of similar processes with a chair. So there's the chair, bottom. And again, this isn't the exact way that you're modeling it, but it's close enough. So it's very specific. I have to make sure I select the right things. I have to make sure I'm moving around the right things. There we go. This is a really high chair, so I'm just going to shrink it. So I'm just going to grab these pieces and pull it up. And then I'm just going to put it back on the chair. There you go. So it's not as detailed as the one you're going to do. It's pretty much the same thing. Okay? But be very specific as to what you're doing. A lot of you as beginners like to stay stuck in this view and try to do everything from this view. So you'll try to go in here and grab, you know, let's say the bottom faces here, and you'll try to do this like that. Don't do that. Zoom in on it. That's why we have a zoom tool. Get right up on these and make sure you're selecting exactly what you need to select. Use your hotkeys like 4 to go into wireframe so you can zoom around and make sure you didn't accidentally select something you didn't want to select. Because it's very easy also to be working here and say, okay, I need the top selected, so I'm just going to do that. And then you'll see how I have other stuff selected here, and then I go and I extrude this, and it just causes this like big mess of stuff here that I can't get back to, okay? So I want you to be very easy on yourself to know that you're not going to get this stuff right away, that it is going to take time, and the only way you're going to get to it is by doing it and doing it and doing it over and over and over again. Okay? So even if you decided I don't like either way, one of these, or I want to do them again, you can delete them and then remake them. And I guarantee it will take less time the second time, and less time the third time, even less time the fourth time. Okay? And not only will it take less time, but then the next project you go to, or the next part of this, will become much easier because you're that used to those tools. You're that used to the repetition. If you've ever studied an instrument like piano or guitar or anything at all, one of the things they do is like scales and finger power things where it's just the same patterns over and over and over again, just to get your mind and your body and everything else used to doing that thing, so that when you get to playing a song, it becomes much simpler. All right? This is no different. This is you going in there and understanding how to use the tools and playing with them over and over and over again until you get to that point. Okay? So I'm going to go through a couple of these tools just so you can see what the tools are going to do. All right, so Polygon tools are only applied to polygon objects. A NURBS tool does not apply to a NURBS or to a polygon object, okay, and vice versa. So when we're under the polygon menu, all of these things I can use on a polygon tool or a polygon object, okay? If I go to a NURBS cube, well, these look pretty much the same thing, okay? Except I can't use any of these tools on a NURBS surface. So if I go to here and I click on this, nothing's going to happen, okay? So that's an indicator that, hey, something's going on, something's not right. So let me get out of this, come on. And then I realize, whoops, this is a NURBS cube because it says NURBS cube right there. So I just go through and I delete it, and then I say, oh, there's my polygon cube, and then I can start to play with it. That's number one that people usually get messed up on, okay? So I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going to go through the bullet points. Extrude. With extrude, we're able to click on a face like so. And let's say I wanted to take this face and I want to just pull it out straight. I want to keep the entire shape the way it is, but just pull that face out. That's what extrude does. extrude, pull it out. Okay? So it gives me the ability to extrude a piece of that surface. I could also do that back here, extrude, and pull a piece of this surface. Okay? You'll also notice these little things floating around by this. These are options. All my options are over here in the channel box on the right. I can adjust them there, or I can adjust them here. Like if I wanted to create basically like inset this a little bit, I can extrude it, and then I can go to offset, oops, click on the word, and just click and drag until this is offset downward. And then I extrude again, and then I can push it in. Okay? And then the same thing with divisions. I can click and drag divisions, add divisions. I can go to here, extrude, and go to thickness and just push it out if I wanted to, or whatever. Okay? So there's lots of different ways that we can create this kind of stuff using just extrudes. You can model an entire character just using extrudes. This other one, let's delete that.
Does that menu come up automatically?
No, I popped it off. See the little dots here? Any of those dots you can just click on, and then it pops it off, and then you have the menu off to the side. Another cool feature of Maya compared to other programs. Cube, there we go. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to add some divisions to this. Width. And I'm just going to extrude to pull these up. I'm going to add divisions to add some divisions. Okay? And now what I need to do is I need to connect this face to that face on the other side. Okay? I need to do what's called bridging. It's exactly what you would think it would be called. So I can just click on these two faces and go to bridge. And now that connects them. Okay? Same thing here. Click on this face, click on that face, go to bridge, and there it is. Okay? Now all of these have option boxes. We looked at the option boxes in several of the playing around assignments we did. One of the ones in bridge is smooth path plus curve. So what this is going to do is it actually creates this curve, kind of like a path inside Photoshop or Illustrator, that we can go to and manipulate. So I can grab these points, and I can move the points around to shape how that transition is going from one side to the other. So if I had a chair that I didn't want these things to just go straight back, I could just arc it and create that nice little shape there. And I could also pull it back this way and have it go back that way as well. Okay? I could also go into the tools and I can taper this. So now it's going to be a little bit thinner. I could also twist it if I needed to for whatever reason. I don't think I've ever twisted it. I could also add more divisions to make it smoother or rougher. Okay? So lots of different options there. So extrude and bridge are two that you're going to be using. And then go to Polygon plane. All right, so this is the Polygon plane. It's just like a flat piece of paper. The other one we're going to be using is the Insert Edge Loop tool. Okay, so this is basically, I want to take this corner right here, and I want to pull that out for a leg or an arm or whatever it is. Okay, first thing I have to do is isolate the area. So I use the Insert Edge Loop tool, and I click on a perpendicular line. Okay, I want my edge to go this way, up and down. In order for me to make it go up and down, I have to click on a perpendicular line to it. Okay, meaning it goes the opposite direction. So I click on this line and drag, and now I can basically insert a couple edges exactly where I need them. Now I have a face isolated, so I can grab that face and extrude it and pull it up. Okay. If I didn't isolate it and I just extruded, it pulls up this whole piece. Okay. So a lot of our modeling is going to be done with isolating parts of it and then doing an operation to that part. All right. That's that. And then I think I'm going to go through one more tool, and that should basically get you through the first part of this. Okay. Now, in the real world, nothing is perfectly sharp. Nothing is perfectly hard-edged. If you look at my stapler here in the light, right there, you can see this highlight that runs along this thing. Okay. It's a big highlight on this because there's a big rounding area. But you'll find 90% or 95% of all objects have some sort of just break in the edge, okay? if you had a block of wood, sometimes you'll see that the block of wood has that just perfectly sharp corner, and it looks kind of like, not fake, but it just kind of looks odd. So what we can do in 3D, because we have that exact thing where this is a perfectly sharp edge, is we can add a bevel to it. Okay? So in this case, I'm grabbing edges, and I go to bevel, and I can break that corner. And by breaking that corner, that's going to create a much more realistic surface because, excuse me, because it's going to interact more like the real world. If we did have a block of wood that was perfectly sharp, within a matter of days or weeks, that block edge would just be broken just because it can't withhold that sharp edge. Okay? And then we can adjust things like how many segments there are and how tight that is. Okay? So the 3 tools you're going to use most are for extrude, bridge, insert edge loop, and bevel. For that first desk, the first chair, you're going to use those over and over and over again. Okay? But like I said before, don't be afraid to even just play with the tool. Just say, you know what, I'm not really understanding the bevel tool too much. I'm just going to go off to the side. I'm going to make a cube. And I'm going to put a bevel on it. What? There you go. I'm going to put a bevel on it and see what it does. And then I'm going to come over here and play with some of these settings to see what some of these settings do, just so I can get a better understanding of what this tool does. So that when the instructor says, go to the bevel tool, I know why we're going to the bevel tool. I'm not just clicking it because he clicked it. Okay? Because eventually you might get to the point you're like, oh, well, I need to create this type of object. How do I do that? Real quick, we can make a cube. There we go. There's a lot of like simple objects that you can make that don't really take a whole lot of time to make. Stuff like this. There we go. It just takes a long time to click. There we go. And then I'm going to delete. I'll just do one side. That way it doesn't take 6 years to do this. Go, extrude, push it in. There we go, Rubik's Cube. There we go, real quick. Okay, so just basic selection things. On this side, this is why I was deselecting, because I was extruding also these pieces, which I didn't want to do. But whatever. This side looks good, so I can use that side. Okay, that's it there, and nothing here. Nope, nothing here. There is one thing I'm going to point out too before I let you do your test. Usually it trips people up. They're going through their hotkeys on the top, and you'll hit 3, and then your cube, which was perfectly square a second ago, is now round, and it freaks you out. Or you hit 2, and now you have like this messed up shape. This is just a preview. In polygons, this is your shape. When I click on 1, I get a square shape. When I click on 2, I'm getting a preview of what it would look like if I smoothed it, and I'm getting a the original shape as well. And then if I hit 3, I'm seeing just the smooth version. So 1, 2, and 3 could screw you up very easy. Just make sure that you click 1 if you want to see what it looks like in the actual mode, and then 3 if you want to see what it looks like smooth. Okay, sometimes we work in both just to kind of toggle back and forth. All right, any questions on the tools yet? No, not yet. I'm also going to show you real quick where the lectures are so you can start working on these. Oops. So on YouTube, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can get to them there like if you're at home. Your best bet is to, while you're here, grab them and throw them on your drive. So everything I'm going to give you is going to be on resources. So if you just go to the resources drive under 2510, under lectures, you'll see here's the introduction stuff. So if you were absent on one of the introductory days where we went through some of the tools and went through setting our preferences up or whatever, those lectures are right there. I would definitely recommend grabbing those. And then here's the desk lectures, and there's 6 of them. And like I said, these might take you 1 day per lecture or 2 days for some of the lectures, okay? This one right here, number 6, is actually a very quick one. 5 is not too bad. It's these first 3 that are going to be probably the longest ones, because this is where we're basically building everything. We're taking basically nothing and building our desk, building our chair, building all the stuff that's going to go on the desk, and then the other lectures are texturing it and rendering it.
If we work at home and come back and put it on here with our flash drive, what about the preferences?
You can grab the preferences too. You don't need to take your preferences home. We take them here just because people are going to delete the preferences and kind of get to their preference state every day, okay? So if you're working at home, you could do the first video at home, which is, I believe it was the interface ones when we did it, yeah. On this interface one, and just reset up your preferences at home like they are here. Or you can copy your preferences from here and bring them home, okay? But you only have to do that 1 time, because at home, you should have your preferences never being deleted. Here, they're being deleted every day. That make sense? Okay. All right. So I recommend that you grab the videos. Never open these off the server. Always copy them to your computers here. Copy them to your drives, whatever it is. And then inside here, if you don't have the player that plays it, there's an MP4. That's the one you're going to play. Now, I'm also recommending that you, on the computers, I believe we have VLC. If we don't, download VLC, install VLC if you want to use it. This is my favorite player for videos, and I'll show you why. So, this is me talking.
The first thing we need to do is we need to copy our preferences.
So you can slow it down if I talk too fast, or you can speed it up if I talk too slow. Eventually, as you progress, you'll get to the point where when you do watch a tutorial video, you're watching it at double speed, because all you need to see is what are the steps. That's all you need. You don't need to know click by click. Okay? So it's definitely cool because you can slow it down and you can speed it up. And then this doesn't have, like, if you ever watched a video in QuickTime, it's like, okay, you're watching it at either total full screen or you're watching it at whatever resolution it pops up at and whatever. VLC automatically resizes to your screen, and then you could shrink it down and it automatically fits perfectly, and it's great. You can also put the lectures up on your iPad. I've had students do that where they have an iPad or Zoom, and they'll have the lecture going here while they're working over there, and that seems to help as well, okay? But if at any point, you have this ability to rewind or fast forward. So here is the first lecture. We're actually going through the book too. Okay, so an hour-long lecture will get you this far, which is creating the chair, creating the desk, and then creating a book that you'll be able to then duplicate at another point, okay? But always copy them to the hard drive, bring them home to watch them. I definitely recommend, if you have the time, it's definitely worth your while to watch the videos first, write down your notes as you're going, and also keep a little list of, in video 1 at 31 minutes, he shows how to make the book. That way, in case you realize my book isn't working, I need to go back and do that. Which lecture was it? Boom, there it is in your notes to say which one it was, okay, instead of having to hunt through them. Okay? All right, cool.